Hello and welcome back to EUS Challenger Series number 6 with the second game in the first best of 3 between Heimerdingers Colossi and Mousesports. I'm Pulse and joined by Metas, and Metas, that was certainly an explosive first game.
Very much so, and I have to say, even though the end was a bit of a landslide, for the first 70% of that game it was neck and neck. We mentioned it a few times, though, the goal difference was literally 100. There was nothing to distinguish the two teams. You had a scoreline of like 9-9 with 3 towers apiece. It was just amazingly close. A couple of team fights started to get the momentum on its tracks there for Heimerdingers Colossi, and they managed to close it out. And I've said this before, they are one of the best teams for going for the jugular. When they get a big lead, they do not give it up. They like to run home with it. So that's pretty much what happened last game. Of course, this is going to be a complete clean slate. And this is a best of 3 format, Pulse, so simply put, Mousesports have to win this game to keep in it.
Yeah, for sure. They were looking fairly strong in this first game, so Heimerdingers Colossi may in fact lose this game. We could go on to the best of 3 or the third game in the best of 3, but we will immediately have that Twisted Fate banned out, which is, I wouldn't say too surprising here, Metas, and also the Zac coming out as well.
Yeah, this time around they're going to ban Twisted Fate. I wonder if they'll leave Jace open though, because as I said before, Extinct loves to play him some Jace in mid, and he utilizes it so well. So you ban out one of his champions, potentially leave another one open. Shen has also been banned out here from Heimerdingers Colossi, alongside the Kazakhs and the Zac. So fairly standard bans coming out, as we've said time and time again. But again, I am interested to see what this third ban is going to be. It's going to be Jarvan. So they're banning out, they're fearing Maluno's Jarvan over the Jace. Leaving that open, I would not be surprised to see Extinct pick up the Jace. But then again, with Mousesports being the first pick, they may very well lock that in themselves.
Yeah, definitely, and the Shen ban coming out as well. So we did see Jarvan to great effect in that last game. Makes a lot of sense, but as you say, Jace now open, so very interesting to see if they will indeed pick this one up. It is indeed open, and still waiting on the 6th ban, at least on my screen, because I am currently spectating over the stream up until we go into the game because of the spectator slots currently being full. So what is the last ban at the moment, Metas?
Lee Sin is the last ban coming out from Heimerdingers Colossi. So it was banned first game as well. I remember you talking about it very clearly, that he has a lot of maneuverability, he is a great ganker, and obviously feeling that maybe Mousesports have a strong Lee Sin up their sleeve. But Thresh has not been banned out this time. It looks like Mousesports going to go ahead and lock that one in for AOD.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the fact that if Lee Sin was banned out, then Thresh isn't banned, and if Thresh isn't banned, you're probably going to pick him, and with them having that first pick, Thresh is very strong. In that bot lane, gives a lot of dominance, just the hooks as well, so good. In fact, we did see Mad Life very recently in the All-Stars, just doing some crazy hooks all day on that Thresh. So we are waiting to see what sort of recourse they have from that team of Heimerdingers Colossi, and yeah, what can they do about it? They may even go for that swap up once again. We did see the blue build Ezreal last game, not to too much avail, because we did just have some fantastic maneuverability all over the board, shutting them down, and that will be Caitlyn and Jace locked in.
Yeah, no surprises there. I mean, we called it, didn't we? If Jace is open, Extinct is going to go ahead and play that. Freeze is a very strong Caitlyn player as well. We have seen before that you have either Mithy picking up an Elise or a Lulu, and they like to play super hyper aggressive, lane switch up into 1v2 lanes and try and take that top tower down as soon as physically possible. So I would not be surprised here to see Heimerdingers Colossi going for the old lane switch up with Extinct running Jace in mid. Back onto Mousesports though, they've gone ahead and insta-locked in Nautilus, very strong ganking jungler, and they're going to go for the Ezreal again. So they haven't been put off from that first game. Fusharp going to be running the Ez, second game in a row.
Yeah, so we do have Thresh now with the Ezreal pair up, so we'll give them a lot of control in that lane. It'll be very difficult for Caitlyn to aggress onto that if they do actually go for that 2 versus 2 lane. They might even swap that up. It seems fairly likely at this stage. Caitlyn does have the ability to stay in contention with that sort of strong control pokey lane. So we'll see how this turns out for them. With also the Nautilus being picked up, one of the best junglers at the moment, definitely has to be said. And he doesn't bring the same sort of damage to the table as, say, a Jarvan, for example. What he does bring is a lot of CC, and his initiations are really strong at the moment with the depth charge and the rest of the CC he brings to the table, and the early game ganking potential as well. So potentially maybe seeing Nunu coming out here.
Yeah, and the Sona lock-in as well. And again, Sona, similar to a Lulu kind of character, is very much a harassment poke-based support. So going alongside Caitlyn makes a lot of sense. And we've seen a few teams doing this whenever they're running the Caitlyn AD carry. They go ahead and take the Nunu in the jungle. What this allows Freeze to do now on Caitlyn is to pick up the Bloodthirster first, and then get the last Whisper second. She doesn't need to be rushing for the Phantom Dancer or the Static Shiv, because the Blood Boil from Nunu is going to basically just be that Zeal for her. She's not going to have to worry about that, so she can build very, very damage base to start off with, trying to get rid of the tanks, I should say. And Nunu is going to be there just to consistently put down the Blood Boil. This also means if they do go for the split push, as we're expecting, when Nunu comes out of the jungle, and they 3-man push the top lane, it's going to go down even quicker. So that's one to watch out for.
Yeah, for sure, and I really like the Nunu pickup. Nunu is really, really strong at the moment with just the ability. I've actually seen Nunu's pick up the Baron even at 15 minutes, despite the nerf to the extra health coming out from that consume, because you do actually get more true damage actually from the consume itself. So actually more efficient, and in fact increases the damage early on top of smite, so you can actually outsmite people with that consume. So we could see that coming out in at least the sort of early stages of the game, and we will have a quick dodge out of that champion select, maybe someone having some issues, or potentially maybe looking for a placeholder pick. But right now we are just looking at Super Hot Fire, just dodging out of this champion select.
Yeah, they are discussing this in chat right now. What I'm grasping from this is that Kiki says, they derped. So we haven't been told about any potential placeholder picks. Apparently the last two pickups for Mousesports were Lux and Malphite. So those are going to be the last two picks up, alongside the Ezreal, the Thresh, and it escapes me who that other player was, because as you said, it's Nautilus. Of course it was Nautilus. So we are going to be running through the picks and bans once again here, Pulse. But question is, do you think Mousesports can bring this one into a best of 3? Because Heimerdingers Colossi, we touched upon this earlier in the Champion Select for game number 1. They are currently the reigning champions of the EUS Challenger Series. They've won the last 2 back-to-back. Incredibly strong, as we saw last game, but Mousesports, in my opinion, for a long period of that first game, looked on par. They looked on point to pick up that game potentially. So I feel like they can, honestly. I think they can take this into a game 3.
Yeah, very, very possible, and they do definitely have the picks to come out here. I don't feel that either team really, has it in the bag just yet. Have very, very nice initiation potential coming out from Mousesports, and we will, have the Malphite, have the Thresh as well to follow up, and maybe looking for those hooks as that initiate. And if they do lock them down that position, they're going to be slow to all hell and back, because you have that, you have the slow coming in from Flay and the box. You also have probably the blue buff, blue build Ezreal, because he is essentially revolving around that slow, and with the rest of the team following up as well. So it will be very interesting to see how this turns out. Maybe just looking for this last pick. It's Karthus. Okay, so yeah,
What?
they have a very strong team fight.
I've either been trolled off Kikis, who did a masterful job, or they've given the wrong information, because they said Lux in the chat previously, and then they've gone ahead with Karthus. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I assume it is literally just going to be a Karthus pickup, with Moobs taking that one down. But yeah, interesting stuff regardless. They have a lot of engage here, Paul. So let's just talk about the composition. Lots of engage on the side of Mousesports. Nautilus and Malphite are going to look to just jump on your back lines and pop the Caitlyn. They want to kill Caitlyn as soon as possible. They want to try and take out Extinct as well. But then after the huge colossal engage, they have a lot of consistent damage. You've got the Ezreal jumping around with the blue build, and then you've got Karthus as well. And Karthus is going to be happy enough to go on the front line, to die, and then just keep up the spamming with the Lay Waste and the Defile, and then eventually popping off Requiem. On top of that, if you do try to get on the back lines here, on towards Ezreal, you have a Thresh who's going to pop down the box and just be a real pain in the backside. So I really like Mousesports' composition.
Yeah, for sure. So they definitely have that ability to come into this second game of this best of 3, coming out swinging. So anyway, guys, we will be jumping to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we will be in the second game between Mousesports and Heimerdingers Colossi. Don't go anywhere.
Time is fleeting, you say. When I grab your hand, you turn away. We chased after the sun and the fading light of day. Watch the broken shot slip away.
Hello and welcome back to EUS Challenger Series number 6 with the second game in the first best of 3 between Heimerdingers Colossi and Mousesports. I'm Pulse and I'm joined by Metas. So Metas, how's it going?
It's going good, man. It is going very, very good. I am looking forward to this, pumped up. I feel like these are two fairly evenly skilled teams, as was shown in game number 1. The composition, as I said before, for Mousesports, I am a fan of, but that's taking nothing away from this split-pushing 1v2 kind of lane system that I think we may see from Heimerdingers Colossi. I say that, but actually Singed is going towards the top lane, so maybe they're not going to be going for the 1v2 lane after all, Pulse. Kind of surprised.
Yeah, fully possible. We do have the Caitlyn on Freeze. Well, Freeze on Caitlyn, that would be a bit weird. But we do have Miffy as well. So we do have a strong poke lane, basically against another strong poke lane, also with Engage. So we'll see how this bot lane goes. And yeah, I'm very interested in seeing how it pans out. We do have a potential invade coming out here from Kick as Maluno maybe in a bad position. The hook lands onto Maluno as well, locking him down. Extinct will be following with the Shock Blast, just kind of pushing them away. But that was almost very, very dicey for Maluno.
I think that's probably going to need to go AFK for a little bit and change his underwear. But that's pretty much all that's happened. Like, he didn't have to pop anything, didn't have to flash away. He will be just fine. We have seen this a number of times from new junglers, that they do go with the Total Biscuit of Rejuvenation and also the Explorer Ward at level 1 with the Masteries, because they don't need as much damage. The consume is more than good enough. So yeah, I am completely in awe here that Heimerdingers Colossi have not gone for the lane switch up. I genuinely believe that Caitlyn Sona, as we've seen so many times with Heimerdingers Colossi do in the past, would go for that lane switch up with going the 2v1, trying to push down the tower, especially when you consider they have the Nunu with Blood Boil. So yeah, I am a bit in awe here.
Yeah, interesting, but we did actually have that Caitlyn and Sona actually contesting those golems down at bot lane, just only clearing that small golem, and that will actually land a hook onto Miffy. Doesn't actually go for this initiate though, with Food Shop just kind of backing off, and probably Miffy and Freeze having the slightly stronger level 1 as well, but they did, however, stop that golem being taken, so they will just be on equal terms when it comes to that XP and gold, so they will be in a good position, and that's exactly what they want if they want to maintain a constant advantage down at bot lane.
Yeah, I think one of the contributing factors to why they didn't go for the 1v2 lanes is that Singed would obviously prefer to be in a 1v1. He doesn't have great sustain. He has to be very much close range and in your face to get farm. He doesn't have the greatest of auto attack damage as well. So that is one of the reasons why. But if you allow Singed to get farmed and indeed fed, when you get towards that mid to late game Pulse, he is a terrifying character to play against. The two junglers have came head to head here on Wraiths. Maluno's trying his best to escape around the side here. He should be a-okay. Sona, if he did come up slightly to try and help his jungler out. But still, the counter-jungling begins. that in a nutshell is what Nunu does. With his consume, he can be really cheeky, he can go into your opposition's jungle and just steal everything.
Yeah, basically 600 true damage. He can just go in, nick a Wraith, just leave. And there's very little Nautilus can do. If he catches him, he could probably outtrade him, but it's Nunu. He's just going to run away from you. Snowball to the face. Blood Boil, I'm out of here, and there's nothing that Nautilus can do about it unless the rest of the team collapses on around him. Ping goes down onto the ward, so Nautilus will not be ganking that today. Extinct also waiting in the brush as well, probably expecting this gank to come in. Also, we do have Malunu just around the corner if they do want to maybe counter gank as well. Nautilus are getting into this jungle, finds himself an angry Nunu along with Extinct as well, chasing after with a lot of damage. Flash goes over the wall, forcing that flash out, and Malunu now just has free reign over his jungle because now he's not exactly in fantastic fighting shape.
Yeah, very, very true. And without the flash on Blastoise on Nautilus, he's not going to be able to do those flash hooks that a lot of Nautiluses like to do to make sure they do land that one. Again, Maluno's coming around the side here, and the smite was used from Nautilus. He's just going to consistently put down the pain. He's going to consistently harass. 1v1 situation here. There's not a great deal of damage going down from either of them with the double buffs. Here comes a shock blast over the wall from Extinct. Not quite managing to land. And they're still at it here, Paul. So it looks like they could be very well fighting for the next couple of years without anyone falling down. A bot lane, though, Extinct. Sorry, not Extinct. Ezreal, even. Is forced to go back to his tower, flashing up red. So lots of poke and harassment, as we expected from Freeze and Mythy.
Yeah, looking to be very dominant right now. Miffy is basically out of mana, does have, however, the power core charged up, so Fushop got to be fairly careful. The hook lands, just picks up a minion, maybe hoping for that minion to have gone down, would have actually picked up the freeze hook, and Miffy just placing down more harassment, so right now they are in very good position, maybe to pick up a kill. The Atlantic goes down, just saving AOD's life. Very nice play. But Blastoise now coming down as well, just kind of keeping Fushop in contention. Consists of a very large minion wave coming to the turret. Maybe just allowing him to CS. In fact, we'll just pop out the Riptide so he misses the CS. But smiting as well, so we will be able to just kind of pick up some of this CS as the anchor goes down as well.
Yeah, and Blastoise is happy enough to soak up some of this XP, none of it going to waste. Maluno is coming around from the side. They're going to be flashing over with the Ice Ball as well. The Titan comes up from Nautilus, but it's going to be first blood, looking like it's going to be 2 kills here. Maluno picks up the second, and the execute actually on towards Sona. So they don't manage to answer the call and pick themselves up a kill. 2 for 0 trade overall. And that's pretty good news for Heimerdingers Colossi.
Yeah, for sure. Very, very nicely executed. Sona just tanking a tower shot as well. And because no one tagged her, it's going to result in the execute. Freeze picking up a kill, and along with Nunu as well. Nice flash over the wall, straight into the ice ball. And just tanking that turret as well. Freeze actually flashing forward so that he would only take a couple hits from turret and wouldn't completely be taken out by AOD, landing a nice hook onto a minion straight into Flay. The Atlantic goes down, looking to follow up with some more auto attacks. Requiem comes down. This could be a kill. And that will be bringing it to a 1 and 2 overall kills.
Such good play there from AOD. He knew that Karthus hit 6. Of course, Karthus is preordained that one. He's like, get Caitlyn low enough, and then I'll do the rest with the Requiem. So Karthus back at his spawn, picking up kills. Good news for Mousesports. And the red buff as well. So it's going to be an added little extra for Karthus against Extinct. You have Maluno actually recalling from the blue buff area of Mousesports, and let's have a quick look at how the items are going down. Caitlyn has BF sword right now. On the flip side, you got double longsword, so Spirit of the Elder Lizard is going to be getting picked up from Ezreal, as you'd expect with a blue build. In the meantime, at top lane, you've got the two just smashing each other over the head right now. Singed is going for the Catalyst of the Protector, and Malphite has this Chalice of Harmony, but I have to feel that before kills start going down at top lane, the jungler's going to have to get involved. I doubt they're going to end up killing each other.
Yeah, they really don't have the damage to take out either of them, but we do have an invade coming out from Malunu and Yamato Cannon. Blastoise around the corner as well, along with Super Hot Fire. And 2 wards go down, in fact, they can definitely see them, but Blastoise has been flipped into them. Extinct and Miffy just around the corner as well. 4 versus 3 right now. They want to go for this Shock Blast through the Acceleration Gate, putting down some more harass as well. Thresh also come up, so the 2 AD carries still at bottom, and they still want to aggress on to this blue buff. So Kicker's just pulling down some more harassment. They may have actually just pushed them back because Jace wants to return farming, but Maluna's just going to stick around. They want this smite to come out, and in fact, Yamato Cannon just poking around as well, and once again, just pushing Blastoise off of that blue buff. You have Miffy around the corner. This is a very protracted engagement, but however, AOD has found himself. Miffy, Max Play comes out, missing the death sentence. However, the Lantern over the wall will just drag them back into contention. They want to go for this Miffy. but they're just going to back off once again. They are still on that blue buff, so it's getting dangerously near that smiting range, and Superfire will be picking that one up, finding themselves a Malunu as well. Kikas does not have the ultimate. He did use it to engage on to Nunu, and now Kick is actually following up as well with the cheese wheel. Yamato Cannon just around the corner, but a bit of out of mana at the moment, along with Kickers. So after all that, they've just gotten the blue buff.
What a strange fight that was, Pulse. You've heard of the Drake dance, you've heard of the Baron dance, we just had a blue dance, and it's not too often you see that happening. Nobody actually falling, but quite a few summoner spells, quite a few ultimates burnt in the process. Karthus does have the double buff right now, 36 seconds remaining on his Requiem, so we could see some action going down, trying to secure kills for him. Singed will be recalling at top lane. AD carries, as you said before, were content to just farm at bot lane. The rest of the teams all around the blue buff, whereas the two AD carries just carrying it down at the bot. 68 to 60 CS is the scoreline in favor of Freeze on the creep score right now as it stands. Blue buff going to be going down to Extinct in the mid. He has finished off his Tier of the Goddess, already 156 stacks through, so looking very, very good.
Yep, North's going to carry on clearing his jungle, and basically we're just going to return to, once again, the sort of farming phase of this laning phase. So let's look at some of the CSs. So Caitlyn's currently 10 CS ahead of that. Ezreal was 1 versus 1 in that bot lane just for a little while that blue dance was happening. And the hook will land actually onto Miffy, looking to follow up. In fact, doesn't follow up, just pops down the Flay as well. Maybe not really looking for this engagement because there is a large minion stack, which will do a lot of damage in this sort of early game. Ping goes down maybe onto that pink ward because that is revealed, and that's a loss of vision right now coming out from red team.
Yeah, definitely, and it's all around Drake, so a bit of a declaration of intent here that Heimerdingers Colossi are hungry for that Drake, and definitely looking like they're going to be edging towards this. Having said that though, Maluno is still around his Wraith camp, still level 5, getting towards 6, going to be taking red buff afterwards. Only 10 minutes through the game thus far, and we saw this in game number 1 as well, Pulse, where I believe the first Drake went down between 15 and 20 minutes in the game. This is very similar. Not a huge amount of action in the first 10 minutes, but it's kind of setting up the foundations for what will be an extremely tense, nerve-wracking affair between these two teams.
Yeah, for sure. We may even once again see that sort of delayed Drake, I guess you could say. But Maluno, once again, just kind of hanging around, just farming the jungle. And I think both junglers pretty similar to where they're at the moment. Level 6 versus level 6, both got their ultimates. However, 1 kill indeed to Nunu, and Nautilus only 1 death. So they will be pinging down onto this blue buff, which is not actually there at the moment, but they will be moving around onto Blastoise. He is actually going up, and the ward goes down, but Singed has actually already backed off, so nothing will really happen there. Yamato kind of just quite content to farm behind that turret at the moment, because if they do send someone up there, that's a Drake that they can potentially aggress onto. So Malphite can't kill him, and Nautilus really can't go top and deal with him, and even with Nautilus and Malphite, not entirely sure they could actually deal with Yamato Cannon.
And speaking of the top laners as well, last game neither of the tops, neither Kikis or Yamato Cannon had a teleport. This time they both have one. So again, we are going to have a teleport coming down towards bot lane. As I was just mentioning, here comes Kickers. Also, the Singed teleport coming down. You do have Crescendo landing on towards Kickers and Fu Sharp as well. Oh, beautiful flash from Miffy, managing to stave off the unstoppable force. But here comes the Requiem. Ezreal's True Shot Barrage actually picking up that kill. Depth charge onto Freeze, forced to pop off the barrier. In the meantime, Thresh has gone down to Caitlyn. Now going to be looking to turn this one round. Here comes Luna from the side. Ice Blast, and now the Absolute Zero going off. Has been cancelled though from Blastoise. As I said before, he is a CC machine. In the meantime, Extinct and also the mid laner from Mousesports are trying to make some plays happen. Singed will be picking up the kill on towards Nautilus. Malphite drops as well from Extinct with a beautiful combination. And at the end of all of that action, that was a 3-for-1 exchange with so much burn. And that should be a Drake as well in the foreseeable future. Although having said that, they're too low, and Karthus is pretty strong. So, no, they're not going to be getting the Drake, but still, they come out ahead in kills.
And the Mystic Shot just whiffing that recall. But right now, yep, that was a 3-for-1 trade, so they are in a very good position. They are sort of pulling ahead right now from Heimerdingers Colossi. This will potentially open up a Drake if they want to go for it. No wards around the area right now for Heimerdingers Colossi. Mousesports actually got 3 wards around the area themselves, and Maluno may be looking to start this as well. Miffy just around the area, along with Caitlyn as well, and Ezreal is currently back at base. So looking very good for Heimerdingers Colossi.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was expecting not so long ago, without realizing that Karthus was like full HP and full mana, which is pretty terrifying. But yeah, I mean, the foundations were set to pick up Drake straight afterwards. The bot lane is still coming back to their lane here in the form of Fushop and also AOD. True Shot Barrage coming through there to clean the creep wave out of the way. In the meantime, Blastoise actually making his way towards the bot lane as well. His depth charge is not quite off cooldown just yet, but will be doing so. Lantern has been popped off, and a beautiful play as well from AOD. They're going hard here. Mithy's very, very low, separating from the pack, trying to get Fushop's attention. He will indeed do so. Nice play again from AOD. That should secure the kill towards Freeze, and that's going to be a double kill for Israel. Big, big plays coming up from Thresh. In the meantime, Maluno was chasing after Moops in the mid, but this is looking very, very good for Ezreal. It's 4 for 1 already.
Yeah, textbook basically fresh play right there, popping down the Lantern immediately with the engage as well. Just perfect play right there. So that was another 2 kills, and as you said, 4-on-1 Ezreal on that blue build Ezreal as well, so looking to be very, very dominant with that control over the board if they choose to go for it. But meanwhile, mid, a turret was picked up, but again, in response, a turret meanwhile at bottom. So Heimerdingers Colossi still edging ahead, slightly ahead, maybe just basically because of that Drake, but Ezreal going to become a threat fairly shortly.
But again, Mousesports are just performing exquisitely. They're keeping in contention in this game. This was pretty much a carbon copy of the last one as well, whereas Heimerdingers Colossi, if you remember, picked up 2 team fights consecutively, fairly comfortable as well. From there on in, it was their game. I am just wondering if Mousesports have learnt from the mistakes, if they are going to try and play to their composition's strengths. Malphite, well, Kick is very, very nearly cancelling the recall there, trolling the Singed, but not going to be happening. Yamato Cannon has gone back, finished off the Catalyst, the Protector, and the Blasting one. More than likely, Rod of Ages will be picked up very, very shortly for him. Meanwhile, Malphite is going to be recalling as well. Currently has the Chalice of Harmony, as I mentioned before, the Ruby Crystal and the Sork Shoes, and 1,000 gold in his back pocket. So he's going to be finishing off the Haunting guys with a few health pots as well. Extinct, let's have a quick look at him. Manamune, 560 stacks alongside a Brutalizer. So again, we've said this so many times, Pulse. I know maybe you haven't because you haven't been here for the last couple of weeks, but Extinct on Jace is terrifying to play against. He always goes for this build, and he's always constantly harassing. He may very well pick himself up a blue buff here as well. There are a couple of wards down. Blue is dangerously low. Is he going to go for a Shock Blast combo? Answer is a no. Gets taken from Karthus.
Yeah, nice smite straight into that donation from Karthus, and they're just going to go ahead and back off. But that, once again, is another statement of aggression coming out from Heimerdingers Colossi. They just want things to happen. They want these fights to happen because they feel that they can maybe get some picks. But Extinct is farming up very well onto that Mana Moon. He's got 600 out of 750 at 16 minutes. That's very, very quick. And so, at top lane, once again, Kikis and Yamato Cannon just bumping heads again. Nothing really going to happen up there, and it's up to the rest of the board really to get something done. So, right now, let's take a look at some of the CSs. And bot lane is fairly similar, about 2 waves ahead for Caitlyn currently. Karthus is slightly behind Jace, so again, the same story in that mid lane. And then the top lane, pretty similar. In fact, Singe actually falling slightly far behind in that CS, about 20, well, 18 at the moment. But 1 kill and another assist ahead.
Yeah, so that's going to equate to Singed actually being ahead on gold by about 200 due to the kill and also the assist, plus of course the globals that have gone down. Even though Ezreal looks very, very strong at 4-1, having a look at the gold differential between him and Caitlyn is only about 100. So the AD carries, although their scorelines look very different, pretty much neck and neck on gold. Bloodthirster for Caitlyn, and again the blue build, as you'd expect coming out from Ezreal. Probably going to be going for the gauntlets very, very soon. Has the chain vest and the components for Sheen in his item build. Yamato kind of has popped off his ultimate, interestingly enough, at top lane, trying to get some farm and just harass Malphite, but not going to do a great deal. So it's been kind of one of the trademarks of this game so far, Pulse, that we have these 5-minute lull periods where it's just farming, and then suddenly all hell breaks loose as soon as the Drake's up.
Yeah, and Drake will be spawning fairly shortly, but we do have Jace looking to maybe get something done at that bot lane. Ward has gone down, so you will see him as he approaches this bot lane. Hook goes down, maybe to drag him into the turret, but this bottom turret will definitely go down. 2 for 1 turret so far over the board for Heimerdingers Colossi, and that will give them some presence over this Drake when they do indeed go for it. Blastoise just trying to clear out that ward with that Oracle. and still everything to play for, but now he's a more priority or high priority target. With the Oracle, they definitely want to get that off him as soon as possible.
Yeah, very true. And this is something that you'd have seen a lot in Season 2, when of course Oracles did not have a time limit. But it's not necessarily an item that you see picked up, or a consumable, I should say, that you see picked up from a lot of junglers. Obviously, Blastoise, Dexter is really wanting to just clear out this vision so that he can try and pick up a Drake when it does respawn. As you say, it should be coming up very, very shortly. But in doing so, he's sold himself 400 gold short. I would have to say, though, that with the Kindle Gem and also the Spirit Stone, he has fairly strong items at this stage of the game, and he's just trying to make sure that the rest of his team assert their dominance. Obviously picking up the Drakes and, in turn, starving the vision, because it's not just about the Drake, it's also about potential ganks, it's also about potential maneuverability from the opposite team that's no longer going to be as comfortable, because you don't want to be walking through River Pulse when you have absolutely no vision, because you simply don't know what's around the corner.
Yeah, for sure, and right now we really need to see Heimerdingers Colossi answer with their own Oracle. In fact, Sona has indeed picked that up, Oracle has indeed been popped. And Nautilus just sniffing around, has already cleared out those wards, and they will be clearing those wards themselves. Ward goes down, in fact the pink ward goes down, and we will have Jace and the rest of his team just around that Drake area. They will be starting it off. Free shot, and Blastoise maybe looking to contest this, lands a nice Mystic shot. Teleport comes down as well. If they want this engage to happen, it's going to happen now. Flash into the anchor, jumping onto Malunu, maybe not the highest priority target, but Malunu will be flashing over the water. Free shot, Barrage goes down as well. AOD just in a bit of a bad spot, popping down the box as well, zoning some of that back line. Extinct looking to now trade off with that Kaostv. Maluna packing down the absolute zero, just splitting up that team fight. Miffy backing off, and now Kickers finds himself caught. Trap goes down, and he will just be turning the corner, cutting the vision. Super Hot Fire will be looking to aggress onto the Caitlyn, and Extinct as well will be backing off. And after all that, that was just a 1-for-0 trade, with Drake still standing. But Yamato Cannon has found himself Kaostv. A lot of damage coming out from Lay Waste, but that should be the end of it.
Beautiful play from Sage. Actually, Requiem is coming in here. Going to be lowering Maluno extremely hard. But of course, with the Consumer, he's able to stay up. Caitlyn will be picking up the Drake. Fushop tries to make something happen with Mystic Shot, just gets caught in return though, and it's flashing up red. But yeah, they will pick up the Drake there. Really nice play from Singed. I'm not sure if he caught it on the camera there, but he actually flipped Karthus into a Caitlyn trap. I'm not sure if it was predetermined or if it was meant to happen, but in doing so, obviously Karthus was stunned and he was no longer a threat, and it bought them a couple of seconds to actually run away. But if Yamato Cannon meant to do that, it was just exquisite play. Extinct did just get caught from a True Shot Barrage there, which came through to try and steal a blue buff, I'm fairly sure, from Ezreal, but it's not enough to take him down. He's going to be recalling right now, and he has 2,000 plus gold to spend, so that's a fair chunk of change. You're actually going to have the double hooks landing on towards Freeze. I'm not too sure about this play, because you underneath the tower, and AOD forcing to flash away there. So some of the spell has been burnt. Here comes Karthus though. From the meantime, he has managed to get the kill on towards Nunu with that last Lay Waste. So never mind. I'm not going to doubt these players anymore. They obviously know what they're doing.
Yeah, yes indeed. With the rest of the team just following up on that as well. The double hook, as you said, went down, and they just picked up another kill onto Malunu, opening up some maybe aggression all over the board. As Malunu is down and they really can't go for those ganks. But what that does mean is they've kind of left themselves open, because a lot of them had to go back because they took a lot of damage from that turret. And now, finally, it looks like Heimerdingers Colossi aggression onto this blue buff will actually pay off.
Again, Ezreal firing through a True Shot Barrage, trying to snipe away blue buffs. It seems to be what he's been aiming for the majority of this game. Unfortunately, wasn't able to pick that one up either. In the meantime, though, Yamato Cannon does go back, reassuming his position at top against Kikis, as has been since pretty much the beginning for the last 22 minutes. But we have reached that lull period again, with some items being built up. So Jace had about 2.2k when he went back, picked up his last Whisper, already has the Muramana and a Brutalizer. That is going to be huge damage from the Shock Blast combination, then going for the to the skies and all of his melee attacks as well. It's going to be very scary to play off against. Meantime, as I said previously, I was expecting Freeze to go for the Bloodthirster and then the last Whisper. Because of the Blood Boil that Nunu gives, simply doesn't need to go for a Zeal into a Phantom Dancer. Aforementioned Maluno is going to be at top lane. Absolute Zero has been popped off the Fling as well, and forcing the Unstoppable Force to come out just to get rid of any potential threat. So that Unstoppable Force is going to be down for about the next 115 seconds. Nice play coming out there from Maluno and Yamato Cannon at top lane.
Yeah, so 2 ultimates burnt so far, but we do have Caitlyn looking to maybe get aggressive onto that Malphite. They do want that top turret. Ping goes down as well. Jason, that enemy jungle, maybe looking to get caught by Blastoise, but he will be good to go at the moment. With that Shock Blast acceleration combo, lots of damage coming out with that current item build. Currently on 200 farming very, very well indeed, with that Muramana. They are just kind of sniffing around, looking for that poke as well, and they have a very, very nice pokey team. They have the Extinct on that Jace, and they have the blue build. Wait, no, he's on the other team. So they have Extinct, facing up against Ezreal. I'm okay.
Yeah, but they do have the Caitlyn. And Caitlyn
yeah.
does a fair amount of pokes. Got fairly long range. Hilt over Peacemaker and the Aeson Hole are nice harassment tools as well. Karthus has been slowed down a couple times there from Melina, but it's going to be able to escape. They've also got the Sona. It's not exactly anything to write home about in due to the damage, but it is just consistent harassment. So they do have a fair amount of poke, and the Ice Blasts coming out all the time from Nunu. It is going to get irritating. Also on top of that, they've got Singed. And of course with his adhesive, mega adhesive that he puts down, the glue, the gunk, on top of the Ice Blast, it's going to be able to completely slow down the maneuverability of Ezreal. And this is something we didn't really talk about in Champion Select. No, Ezreal is known for being maneuverability based. His Arcane Shift, of course, the flash that he brings as well is going to get him out of dodge. But if he gets adhesive down from Singed and the Ice Blast, that's basically like being stunned. He's not going to be able to do absolutely anything for a few seconds, and that's when the rest of the team of Heimerdingers Colossi are going to look to pounce on him. You do have a teleport coming in at bot lane as I'm talking there. Extinct is flashing up, damage to the low. Oh, Unstoppable Force comes through, but narrowly misses. They do manage to pick up that kill regardless, though. Requiem as well will be landing towards Yamato Cannon, who is going to fall down, and that is the strength of a teleport, managing to just pick up 2 quick fire frags on the side of Mousesports. Now with 30 seconds to go before Extinct and Singed up, they're going to look to make plays in mid.
Yeah, that's 2 kills going down, and that's 2 members of Heimerdingers Colossi not able to do anything. They may be looking for this Baron, very possible, but they do have to contend with Melunu, who does have that Consume, and he has Smite as well. They are actually aggressing onto it. Let's look at right now what he has on that Consume. 902 damage against, what does Blastoise have? He has 790, so if he lands that Consume, he will actually be able to steal this off. The Miffy has, however, been caught by those hooks, and another kill goes down for Spooshop. They maybe will be backing off though, and that Sona sacrifice will actually stop them from taking that Baron.
Yeah, I feel the Baron was a bit too ballsy. That's why when I was actually calling it, I thought that they would go ahead and try and force the mid tower down, because it is on about 50% HP, and they had a 3v5 situation in their favor, so I honestly thought they would push down the mid. But in pulling in Mithy, even though Mithy died, did manage to land a beautiful crescendo on, it's at least 4 out of 5 players, may very well have been all 5. In doing so, I think that was the last nail in the coffin of this Baron attempt, and they did pull themselves back. So even though Mithy died, they did disallow Baron from Mousesports, so somewhat of a minor consolation, a minor victory.
Yeah, they kind of bit off more than they could chew, and honestly a tower would have been a lot safer, but Baron would have probably put them in a better position to fight these teamfights hard, because right now their main problem is they really can't face up against Heimerdingers Colossi straight on. Getting that pick was great, and they wanted to transition that into a Baron, and hence the teamfight as well. Drake has now spawned on top of that, so they may be looking for another teamfight to come out as well. But with the aforementioned point, they're not in the greatest position unless they get a fantastic engage off. Maybe a Malphite ultimate on 3 or 4 people, and then with the rest of CC laying down on top of that as well. Because Karthus definitely does have the damage, so does Ezreal. And they will maybe be able to poke this one down. Miffy just kind of clearing away some of that vision, making it harder for that poke to come out from Pushop. But they will now be starting onto this Drake, so if they want to go for this aggression, they're going to have to go for it now. Flay comes down onto Yamato Cannon, the Blastoise as well, just trying to lock up Melunu. Absolute Zero comes out, the knockup comes down as well. Extinct kind of being zoned away at the back, but he is fighting them 1 versus 3. Godlike Fushot comes down, Ace in the Hole comes out as well. 1-for-1 trade, AOD for Extinct. Kick is trying to aggress onto Freeze. Does not have the ultimate, so he's not able to connect that as well. Blastoise on that front line, and a flip goes over the wall. Shut down, nice pelter over into Fushop. Freeze looking to back off, the flash comes out, and now Kick is just trying to get away from this. Melunu looking for that ice ball, and that will be the finish on to that kill. We do have Yamato Cannon looking to get deep onto Super Hot Fire. Blastoise as well will just kind of keep him away, and this should surely be the Drake.
Yeah,
Or not?
2-for-1 exchange, and they're not going to go for the Drake. As if they can hear and they're trying to prove you wrong, Pulse. It's a conspiracy. But yeah, I mean, Miluno obviously feeling that with Nautilus up and the Smite off cooldown, maybe it would be a bit too much of a risk, a bit of a gamble there. So they're not going to be going for the Drake just yet, but maybe when they do have the players back up, they'll go ahead and do that. Malphite is down for 10 seconds and doesn't have a teleport, so perhaps they're going to go for the Drake right now. They realize that when Malphite respawns in 5 seconds, it's still going to take him a good 10 to 15 seconds to get to Drake. So maybe they're edging towards it now, but maybe not, seeing as that Singe is at top lane.
Definitely, but however, it is a good chance for them maybe to force another team fight because they know they're stronger. That last team fight didn't maybe go as planned, but they did still come out ahead. So if they want to force the Drake once again, they can go for another team fight, maybe go for round 2, maybe come out better. But Singe does indeed have that teleport, AOD not quite looking to follow up with that death sentence, and he will now be going onto this Drake.
Yes, so Singed is still split pushing, but he does have teleport up, so I was wondering if that would signify the end of his potential Drake, but no, it won't. Teleport is coming in. He's going to be going around the back as well. This could be a beautiful play. Shockwave comes in. The Shock Blast, I should say, comes in from Jace. Does land on towards Blastoise, who is still low HP from the previous engagement. Another Shock Blast lands onto Fushop. Absolute Zero being popped down from Miluno, slowing everyone down. Here comes a Unstoppable Force, though, landing on 2-3 players. The depth charge as well. Kaustv picks up 1 kill before going down, but he's happy to fire up the Requiem. How many kills is he going to pick up now? The answer is no, but Miluno is so damn low alongside Freeze. So even though the Requiem went off, was not enough damage, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade support for mid laner. And with Extinct pretty high on HP, they may very well go for this Drake right now. Having said that though, Kikis is still lurking around the shadows. Extinct is doing so much damage though to the skies. Here comes Ace in the hole as well. Fushop very nearly taking that bullet for his compadre. Not quite though, and that is going to be the Drake finally.
Yes, indeed, and they will be picking this one up fairly easily. There we go. And that was a very, very close team fight. After that disruption came in, we had a perfect ultimate coming in from Kickers and the depth charge as well. You could just see them bouncing up and down, and they were able to push them back. Requiem came in, but didn't actually pick up anyone very, very close. Maybe an extra 100 AP would have actually finished off 3 of those kills, and that would have been a very, very different story. But Heimerdingers Colossi just drawing ahead once again with another Drake pickup. 4.5k ahead, 11 to 11 kills, and 3 to 2 towers. So they are still slightly ahead, and they are slightly stronger in these team fights, but really anything could turn it. A good Initiate, a good fighter Baron, anything could really allow Mousesports to come back into this game.
And who knew? My brain, for some reason, thinks that Jace fires out shockwaves. So that would be OP as hell, Pulse, if you just had like Orianna ultimates coming out every time a shot blast went across. But bit of a slip of the tongue there, I do apologise. Either way, yeah, it is looking good. Heimerdingers Colossi do have an advantage, but it is still anybody's game. It's 2 to 3 on towers, but as I said previously, the mid tower has been smashed upon. It has been bruised, battered and scarred. Only 143 HP remaining, so if someone just looks at that tower wrong, it will end up crumbling down. In the meantime, though, pings are going down around Baron. Could be the next point of contention between the two teams. The teleport was used from Singe, but is coming back up very, very quickly right now. Teleport is already off cooldown from Malphite, so they may very well try and make a play happen out of thin air. Some more pings going down towards Baron. We are in that period of time where Mythi's going to try and get rid of some wards, being forced to flash through there as the depth charge comes roaring across. Had they got that pick pulse, I feel they may have tried to make Baron happen.
Yeah, that's exactly why Miffy used the flash to get out of that one, because any pick at this stage could definitely mean that transitioning into a very nice Baron, and that also means the next team fight probably going in their favour as well, just massive control all over the board. However, we do have Heimerdingers Colossi not in the greatest position to save this turret. Yamato Cannon, quite tanky at this stage, can go in from the side. Freeze has just looped around, however, but the tower down to about 50% HP. The Shock Blast comes in along with the Absolute Zero. The Crescendo comes down as well. Depth Charge just zoning out Extinct, not anyone else though. Blastoise just on that front line taking lots of damage. The Dark Passage comes out as well. The Requiem will just scratch that team of Heimerdingers Colossi. AOD, nice flare will just kind of keep them away, but Fushop will be forced to Arcane Shift. Snowball will connect, and this might be another kill, and Fushop finds himself just basically having to trade with that 5-man strong team of Heimerdingers Colossi, and that was a 2-0 trade here, Messers.
Yeah, seeing Jace at the bot lane, seeing Extinct occupying bot lane gave Mousesports a false sense of security, and this is a thing that a lot of players fall into the trap of. They forget that Jace gets a movement speed increase for a couple of seconds whenever he changes form, so he's actually quite deceptively fast at maneuvering around, plus his acceleration gate. So even though he was at bot lane farming, it only took him a few seconds to get into position to just artillery strike down on the mid, and did a lot of damage there. Karthus went down first. Normally that's a pretty good sign, but the fact was that he died before putting any serious damage down. As you said correctly as well while you were casting, the Requiem pretty much didn't even scratch Heimerdingers Colossi, and when Karthus is in that kind of position, it's where the alarm bells begin to ring. You want people to fear that Requiem coming down, not laugh at it. And right now, Mousesports just, it don't seem to be in contention, these kind of team fights, even though it looks like it could be quite close.
Yeah, I think one of the main problems with Karthus right now is he doesn't have a Void Staff, and look at the magic resist coming out from that team of Heimerdingers Colossi. You've got the Negatron Cloak already on that Singe, you have the Runic Bulwarkers so efficient for magic resist, two Hex Drinkers, and on Sona not so much, but she will have the aura from Runic Bulwark. That's a lot of magic resist, and Karthus doesn't have any answer for that apart from the Sork Boots. So he needs that Void Staff really to actually do some damage to that team, because he's not quite the threat, where it's just like, well, what do we do about Karthus? Because a fed Karthus is so difficult to deal with. It's like, we kill Karthus, he's still gonna hit us with Death Defiled, so what can we do about him? But at the stage, it's kind of like, well, we just ignore Karthus and go for more important targets like Fushop.
Yeah, very, very good points there. And this is kind of deja vu for me, Pulse. I don't know if you're having the same feeling, but this time last game, I want to say it was almost an identical position, where the score was similar, the towers were similar, but Heimerdingers Colossi were just starting to edge ahead. Last couple of team fights have definitely gone in their favour, plus the Baron on top of that, of course. And if we know one thing about Heimerdingers Colossi, it's that they're not going to let up. They're not going to take their foot off the accelerator. They're going to continually split push, going to continually steal all of the Mousesports jungle away from them, and put a lot of harassment down on this mid tower as well. And Mousesports found themselves in a similar predicament last time around. They have somewhat of a better engaging team, I feel, this time around, with the Nautilus, his depth charge, and also the dredge line, plus the Unstoppable Force, plus the Thresh as well. But the last couple of team fights they've tried to engage in have horribly backfired.
Yeah, but unfortunately we have a lot of poke coming from Heimerdingers Colossi, and it looks like they are just going to concede this middle turret, and in fact both top laners have now just gone into bot lane, and once again, surprise surprise, nothing's happening. But Malunu has potentially been caught, but he's very, very tanky at this stage, maybe looping around to maybe pick up this Kickers. He is quite tanky and not really looking for this, he's not the perfect picking target underneath a turret, but Malunu will just be backing off, and if they want to go for this team fight, probably here's the best place.
Right, you've got your Monarch actually recalling, so this is going to be a 4 versus 5, but his teleport is up. So they could potentially bait that one out. Or Dredge Line narrowly missing on towards Mithy there. That was a hair's breadth away. And had that have landed, we could very well have seen an engage kicking off. But Singed is doing the smart thing. Heimerdingers Colossi are doing the smart thing. They can keep battering down the defenses of Mousesports with their poke. As you mentioned before, the Extinct poke, the Caitlyn poke, the Sona poke, the Ice Blast as well from Nunu. There is just so much poke coming down. In the meantime, Singed is just going to split push top. And there's going to be a point where Mousesports have to decide if they're going to full on engage in this team fight, or if they're going to have to send somebody to go to top lane. Right now, it seems like they're going to go for the latter of those two options, sending Malphite to top. There's a very smart couple of wards planted down from Heimerdingers Colossi in the bottom bush. So if Singe does need to quickly jump across with his teleport, he's going to be able to do so while being basically invisible. So that's another thing to watch out for here. Seemingly Mousesports are like, okay, screw this tower, we're just going to pull ourselves back. And again, Heimerdingers Colossi are just tightening the noose.
Yeah, what was really nice about that play is because they lacked Malphite, and if they are going to go for a favourable team fight, they need that heavy initiation that Kickers brings to the table with that unstoppable force. What they do have is they had depth charge, they had a fresh hook if they could land it, but even then they might not be able to actually go for that team fight even if they did, and they needed that Malphite there. By taking away with that Singe going top, they can't do anything about it, but with that happening, a pause will come down here, Metas.
Yes, and this is going to give both of us a chance to have a bit of a breather, because this has been a very, very interesting, and I have to say I've thoroughly enjoyed these two games. It's been a roller coaster ride. You know, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife. It's just ridiculous. And even at this point, even though Mousesports are definitely up against it. They definitely have somewhat of a mountain to climb. They're still in this game, Pulse. They can make things happen. I think the main difference between this time and last game when they're in a similar position is this time around they can engage much harder, much stronger, much faster. And they have a lot more raw damage coming out as well. But the question is, are they going to get given an opportunity from Heimerdingers Colossi? Because they are somewhat of masterclass at finishing off games that they're in the lead of. So I think this is going to have to be down to Heimerdingers Colossi relieving the pressure more than big plays coming out from Mousesports, and I'm not entirely sure that's going to happen.
Yeah, you raise a very good point there, Metas, because they have engaged. So if they want to engage underneath a turret, if they do potentially get dived, then they're in a very good position to lock them up underneath that turret, go for a very, very favourable team fight. The same thing goes for those objectives like Baron. They can just have Baron continuously wailing on them while they also bring down the damage. However, it doesn't look like Heimerdingers Colossi are really going to open up any opportunities for that to happen, but at the same time, engage, what that allows you to do is open up your own opportunities. At the moment though, Heimerdingers Colossi just kind of all over them right now with with all these team fights and a lot of wards down at bot lane.
Do you know what this kind of playstyle reminds me of, Paul? So I'm not sure if you'd agree with this, but when Kaostv and myself were casting the Kaostv Vengeance Cup, which was now about a year and a half ago, when obviously they're now called Gambit, but at the time they were Moscow 5, this reminds me very much of Moscow 5's gameplay, where when they take an advantage, it is just ridiculously hard to get rid of them. They are that bulldog. They're going to keep being the pit bull terrier that will not let up, will not let go of that lead, and they're going to take it home. And Heimerdingers Colossi, for me, are very similar in that aspect. It's so difficult to take a lead from them.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of interesting because we haven't really spoken about them for a very, very long time because, well, they haven't really been in these tournaments with LCS going on. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense because it's very fluid gameplay. They pick up an advantage, they pick up all these small victories, then they go for a team fight and they're in a very good position. I know what Moscow 5 used to do, or well, Gambit Gaming, is that they had a very strong mid-game orientated team. They liked to be in that roaming phase as fast as possible because they knew they could outmaneuver and they were more fluid as a team. They were moving as a unit. So yeah, I definitely agree. They have the same sort of play style, but maybe not as strong or orientating their team specifically around mid-game because right now they have a very nice snowballing team into late game.
It's almost mechanic the way that they transition between lanes is another thing that I've noticed over the last few weeks of Heimerdingers Colossi. When they burst into this tournament, of course, Dragonborns after LCS somewhat parted ways, and that's how we did get Heimerdingers Colossi in the first place. But they seem like they make transitions seamlessly between lanes. They very rarely make mistakes. The only time that I've really seen Heimerdingers Colossi make throws, or at least give the opposition a chance, is when they've gone too aggressive. They've got kind of overconfident. Actually, we are going to have an engage kicking off. AOD goes in with the box, but doesn't have a great deal of backup. Here comes a Requiem, though. Global Ultimate, Unstoppable Force as well, on towards Mithy. Very, very low place here. Extinct has fallen. Ezreal, in the meantime, is going to be trying to chase after some players. Here comes Casters from the side, though, putting down the wall of pain, slowing Mithy away. Mithy will be getting dropped down from Kikis. Now going to be focusing on towards Yamato Cannon, who is trying to chase after that AOD, and this could very well be the play. Having said that, though, here comes Caitlyn, and also Maluno from the backside. Freeze going to be firing off the ace, now will be picking up the double kill on towards Ezreal, despite AOD's best efforts to block out the ace in the hole. So that was looking incredibly good for Mousesports, and then the pain train of Freeze plus Maluno came into effect, and everybody ran screaming. But still, that was a 3-for-3 trade.
Yeah, and AOD desperately wanted to block that ace in the hole, but unfortunately Food Shop just arcane shifted into it. So that could have been a kill, you know, not given away there, but Freeze just so strong right now. 6-3 and 6, 311 farm. He's quite strong here, Metas. So yeah, that was a very good pick play coming out from Mousesports, but what could they do when you have to teleport coming in from Yamato Cannon, buying some time for Caitlyn and Maluno to come in with that pain train?
Yes, and what a terrifying pain train it was as well. A blood-boiled up, last whispered, bloodthirsted, infinity-edged Caitlyn with Zeal, just for good measure, and a Hex Drinker. So they came in with pretty much full HP when the battle-worn team of Mousesports who'd just been through hell and back suddenly had very fed players on their 6. And kind of feel a bit sorry for Fusharp because he tried a sexy arcane shift that just didn't quite work. And as you said, did backfire somewhat. So a bit of egg smeared on his face. But regardless, that's going to give Mousesports a feeling of, you know, guys, we can pull this one back because, you know, we've been talking up Heimerdingers Colossi a lot. The lead that they have currently is 10k on the dot. They did have Baron previously, and still Mousesports caught them out of position somewhat. The unstoppable force, the box as well from Thresh was just magnificently played with the Requiem, and suddenly a couple of their players just disintegrated before their eyes. So maybe Mousesports do have what it takes to pull this game back and take it into that all-important deciding third.
Yeah, but right now it does look like Heimerdingers Colossi looking to aggress onto this Baron, and they have the damage for it. They have a Muramana, Extinct, and Freeze who are just laying down so much damage. We are trying to push away Blastoise, and we do have the rest of Mousesports just kind of sniffing around this area, and that will force them back, at least for now. But this could potentially be a pick, and maybe a team fight coming up from Heimerdingers Colossi. The Kicker's on the front line, wants this engage to happen, he wants to get that ultimate down, but only lands onto Extinct. The deck charge comes in as well, recognize him as a huge threat. We do have Yamato Cannon looking to just do so much damage to Karthus. He will in fact bleed out away from the fight, opposite of what he wanted, but the Requiem now coming in. Does he have the damage? Picks up the Miffy, but Fusharp now looking to bring in some hurt as well. Freeze still alive, nice fling, and the ace in the hole will finish off Fusharp. So much damage. There's the triple kill. 5 for 1, and that will be the Baron coming out. In fact, we do have Extinct and Yamato Cannon pushing down mid and splitting up this objective taking.
Well, you know, I don't like to rag on players because they are far, far superior to what... I will never be as good as these players, but I have to say that Kicker's ultimate there, the Unstoppable Force, just landed on Extinct, as you said while you were casting. That was a massive, massive detriment to the rest of his team, because if you're going to engage with Unstoppable Force, you want to knock both carries up if you can, in a perfect world, but you're at least wanting to hit 3 or 4 players. Hitting just Extinct actually put himself in contention to get completely crushed through by Heimerdingers Colossi, and they're actually going to go ahead and take the win off the back of that engage. So that was a sad way to see the game end, Pulse, because I honestly feel that up until that point, Mousesports did have a bit of a chance, no matter how brief, no matter how small of a chance it was. And that engage just... I'm kind of at a loss for words. I can't believe it happened.
Yeah, for sure. And it was just... Basically, Kickers needed something to happen. Like, from the perspective of Mousesports, they needed an engage to happen, because if they didn't at that Baron, they pick up Baron, and then they push them in for the win. So, you need an engage to happen on 3 or 4 people, as you mentioned, but it just didn't quite pan out, and, you know, these things happened. Like, they couldn't potentially go for that perfect engage, because they were just splitting up. They were very aware that Mousesports wanted to come back into the game, but at that stage, if you don't get a favourable engage, it's just going to be head-to-head, and in a head-to-head fight, you have Heimerdingers Colossi definitely coming out on top.
Yeah, I'm not at a loss of words because I am, you know, smashing him as a player or trying to talk down. I'm just gutted for them because they put in such a hard fought battle for those 2 games. For it to finish in such a way, I don't know about you, Pulse, but I'm kind of feel sorry for them, you know, because you know what he was trying to do. The intentions were clear and they were very good. As he said, they couldn't just give up the free Baron. But just hitting Extinct, yes, you want to get the pick on Extinct because he's a large chunk of their damage, but in doing so, you place yourself to get completely ripped through from the Caitlyn, because Caitlyn at that point with Blood Boil was just destroying people's faces, which is exactly the reason you wanted to land that chain CC of death and destruction on Caitlyn as well. If you can neutralize her out the fight, she didn't have the Guardian's Angel, she didn't have particularly any defensive items either, so it is potentially possible that you would take her out instantly. They weren't able to do that, and they did suffer as a result. So that's going to be the 2-0 to Heimerdingers Colossi. But I feel 2-0 isn't really a fair scoreline for Mousesports. They put up a really good fight.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, that was one of the closest games, especially when you're facing up against the Heimerdingers Colossi, and they really did put up a very, very strong performance. So props to Mousesports, but they will be taken out in this game. And I'm sorry, it is Mousesports, and I have been corrected many times during this cast. But anyway, guys, we will be jumping into the next best of 3, which will be casted by Stress and Spuddington. So look forward to that. But anyway, from myself and Metas, we will be leaving. But I think if you want to see more of our casting, we can see you on what social media, Metas?
Facebook.com/MetisTV, and I believe for you it is what's your pulse on YouTube, and what's your Facebook?
Exactly the same. It's facebook.com/watchyourpulse, and the same as, in fact, my Twitter is now @impulsible. Hashtag puns of damage. So, that's all from us, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more great League of Legends action with Splittington and Stress.